1,000 ants. 1 Venus flytrap. The plant is designed to catch and dissolve anything that walks inside. The ants have no idea what they're walking into. And in 90 minutes, one of them is going to do something that I still can't explain. This is going to get interesting. I've kept this Venus flytrap for 3 months. It has 12 active traps, each one loaded with sweet nectar and 6 trigger hairs ready to fire in under half a second. In 3 months, this plant has never missed a target. Not once. Every fly, every cricket, every insect that stepped inside got caught. Today, it's going up against something completely different. Not one insect, 1,000 of them. I collected these ants over 6 weeks. 1,000 workers from a colony I have been growing since the beginning of the year. These aren't random insects. They communicate through chemical signals called pheromones. When one ant finds food, the entire colony knows within minutes. When one ant finds danger, the entire colony changes behavior within seconds. They problem solve. They adapt. They learn. And today, they were about to learn something very painful. What do you think happens when an organized colony meets a carnivorous plant? Does the plant win? Or do the ants find a way through? Comment your prediction below. I genuinely didn't know. The answer myself. I released the ants into the enclosure at exactly 9 a.m. Within 10 seconds, the first ant had reached the plant. It walked directly toward the largest trap. I held my breath. The ant touched the first trigger hair. One touch. Nothing happened. The plant was waiting. For the second, the ant moved again. Brushed a second hair. 0.3 seconds. The trap closed. First ant down. I watched it happen and felt genuinely bad. That ant had no idea what it had walked into. It was just doing what ants do. Exploring, looking for food, following its instincts. And its instincts had led it directly into a trap designed by millions of years of evolution to catch exactly that. But here's what I didn't expect. The colony didn't panic. They kept coming. Within 5 minutes, 43 ants had entered the plant zone. 11 had been caught. 32 were still moving. And I noticed something starting to change. The ants that had survived the first wave were moving differently. Slower, more carefully. Instead of walking directly toward the traps, they started circling, testing the edges, probing the outer surface of each trap. Without stepping inside, one ant found the stem and started climbing up the outside of the plant, past every trap opening, without triggering a single one. It reached the very top and sat there, on top of a Venus flytrap, completely safe. I had never seen an ant do that before. By the 30-minute mark, something had shifted. The plant had caught 22 ants total, but the colony had figured something out. They had discovered that the traps needed 2 separate touches within 20 seconds to fire, and they were exploiting it. Groups of ants were now rushing the traps, touching once, then pulling back before the second touch, forcing the trap to reset without catching anything. I watched this happen 12 times in a row. 12 times. A Venus flytrap being outmaneuvered by insects with no brain, larger than a grain of sand. This was not what I had expected when I started this experiment. But then, at the 45-minute mark, everything changed. 3 traps closed simultaneously. The plant had caught 3 ants at once, and for the first time, the colony retreated. Every worker pulled back to the far edges of the enclosure. Their antennae were moving rapidly, signals passing between them, faster than I could follow. Something had changed in their collective assessment of this plant. For 8 full minutes, not a single ant moved toward the Venus flytrap. I genuinely thought the plant had won. Then one ant broke from the group. Small, noticeably faster than the others around it. It didn't move toward a trap opening. It moved toward the base of the stem, and it started biting. Not the trap, the stem itself. Within 30 seconds, 4 more ants joined it. Then 12, then 20. They weren't trying to avoid the plant anymore. They were attacking it from a completely different angle. I named that first ant Commander because what followed was the most coordinated insect behavior I have ever filmed. Commander had found the one part of the plant the traps couldn't protect, the stem below, and the colony had followed within seconds. Here's what this experiment actually revealed. Venus flytraps evolved to catch one insect at a time. Their trigger system requires 2 touches within 20 seconds. That gap exists to prevent the plant from wasting energy on raindrops and debris. But a coordinated colony can exploit that gap deliberately. Touch once, pull back, reset the trap, touch again. The plant has no way to adapt to this in real time. But the nectar is still irresistible. So the colony keeps losing members, even as they get smarter. It's a biological arms race that has been happening in real bogs for millions of years. The plant evolved to catch insects. The insects evolved to survive plants. Neither side has ever fully won. After 90 minutes, here's exactly what had happened. Venus Flytrap caught 31 ants total. Every caught ant was being slowly dissolved inside a sealed trap. The plant had fed well, but the colony, 969 ants, were still alive, still organized, still communicating, still moving. Commander's group had stripped a section of the plant stem completely clean. The plant was still alive, but it had been damaged in a way I hadn't predicted. So who won? Honestly, neither. The plant caught prey and fed itself. The colony survived, adapted, and found a way to fight back. And Commander, the single ant who changed the entire strategy, was somewhere in that group of 969, doing exactly what ants do. Moving forward, 1,000 ants, 1 Venus flytrap, 90 minutes, 31 ants caught, 969 survived, and 1 ant named Commander, who figured out what 1,000 years of evolution hadn't prepared the plant for. Who do you think won, the plant or the colony? Leave a comment below and subscribe to WildHatch, because next time I'm putting Commander's colony up against something even more dangerous than a Venus flytrap. See you in the next one.